Commencement speeches are typically crafted to offer advice to graduates. The sage speaker passes along his or her wisdom to a group of young people poised on the threshold of a new stage of their lives, typically. But this situation is different, as I'm graduating from Crossroads alongside these seniors. I too am on the cusp of a change that will be different and therefore unknowable. After years of watching Crossroads students moving on while remaining present, I too am in motion, which is fitting because, according to Gertrude Stein, the American thing is the vitality of movement. Now, I'm a fan of Gertrude Stein, which is obvious to anyone who's been in my office. I have a shrine to her on my wall. She was a lover of language, whether communicated through art or books. As she famously said, you can either buy clothes or buy pictures. Gertrude didn't worry about matching her shirt and shoes. She was a wise woman. She said other interesting things too, like me for meat or for myself. I have no idea what she meant by that. But I do understand another of her aphorisms. I like the feeling of words doing as they want to do and as they have to do. I think I adore that quote because Stein had succinctly described how we should all live our lives. Doing as we want to do, yes, but more than that, as we have to do. I have been lucky in my adult life, as I have often lived as I want to do. Passing first straight early in my life was arduous and inauthentic, and I searched for authenticity in the safest and most illuminating way I knew how, in literature. I have another sign in my office that reads, "Reading saved my life," and it's true. D.H. Lawrence got me through the last 2 years of my high school. Years later, once I found the courage to live truthfully, I actually didn't worry about what jobs I held, though I held some very interesting ones. Still, the longest job I held lasted only about 5 or 6 years. It finally came time for me to think about living as I have to do. I again turned to literature for guidance, in this case, the want ads in the Los Angeles Times. And I entered an advertisement for an English teacher at a school for at-risk kids in the Valley. Somehow I got the job. I had a great year there, and then came to Crossroads in the fall of 2000. At the same time, the members of this graduating class began their 13-year march from kindergarten to this stage. As Rika would posit, is this irony or coincidence? In any event, I suddenly found myself immersed in books again. And while I was reading books in order to educate my students, I realized that I was once again trying to find in those pages answers to the questions life asked of me and to the questions I asked of life. The first text I taught was Beowulf, in a translation by the poet Seamus Heaney. And in reading more about Heaney, I found his poem St. Kevin and the Blackbird, in which St. Kevin, arms outstretched as he kneels in his cell, is surprised when a blackbird nests in one of his hands, and finds himself, as Heaney writes, quote, linked into the network of eternal life. Without sounding too vainglorious about the profession of teaching, St. Kevin's condition seems to me to mirror the act of teaching, the giving of knowledge and the receiving of insight, of joy, and of connection. Heaney gives us this last image of St. Kevin, quote, alone and mirrored clear in love's deep river, to labor and to not seek reward, he prays, a prayer his body makes entirely, for he has forgotten self, forgotten bird, and on the riverbank forgotten the river's name. Of course, I'm no St. Kevin, and I hadn't forgotten self and labored without seeking reward. So in the spring of 2009, I consciously and ambitiously accepted the offer to become a grade level dean for the incoming class of 2013, this class we celebrate today. I had no idea what the job really entailed, but the word dean sounded good, and my older sister thought I'd be walking around in robes like these all day, so it sounded good to others too. Before I could start the job, though, just a week before the 9th grade retreat, my father passed away. Days after my father's funeral, I was at Camp Hess Kramer with 130 new people. I was supposed to know and to shepherd them through their freshman and sophomore years. Young people with descriptive and poetic names like Summer, Aurora, Aviv, Grace, India, Cherokee, Soshi, Malika, and even an Alexandra with both an X and a Z. The variety of these graduates struck me when they were at the cusp of their high school years, just as it strikes me now. It struck me in ways that transcended merely their names. At that retreat, Brendan Mullally was dressed resplendently, if not quite appropriately, for the surroundings. Summer Kennedy attacked the ropes course like she was a member of the Navy SEALs. And Maddie Willing, now back in England, almost broke her knee, scurrying back to their bunkhouse on that second night, which was also my first disciplinary job as a dean. I remember sitting in a small council circle of about 12 students on that last morning, and one new student to Crossroads, Dominique Ballou, in her apostrophe days, saying she wasn't sure about this new school, but if Brendan could dress as he did and be loved for it rather than teased, Crossroads might just work out for her. Walt Whitman once wrote, quote, "I believe in these winged purposes and acknowledge red, yellow, white playing within me." I sat across from Dominique as she spoke that morning, and I thought, if she can believe in her new peers, and if they can acknowledge and revel in the variety of the classmates, then I would too. 6 months later, while I was still getting to know this class through 15-minute mini-meetings rife with questions such as, what do you like to do on the weekends, and who are your best friends in your class, and which of my Converse do you like the best? My brother died suddenly. The students whom I was supposed to take care of rallied to take care of me. In his poem, A Display of Mackerel, Mark Doty finds beauty and truth in, of all things, a supermarket display of dead mackerel and ice. Quote, "All for all, the rainbowed school and its acres of brilliant classrooms in which no verb is singular, or everyone is. How happy they seem, even on ice, to be together, selfless, which is the price of gleaming." In his explication of the piece, Doty wrote, "Our glory is not our individuality, but our commonness. The one of a kind, the singular, cannot last, and yet the collective life, which is also us, shimmers on." Doty lays it out well, but I learned this same lesson more organically and beautifully from the young people we celebrate today. They help me celebrate life, daily life, as well as the greater, more amorphous concept of life, by allowing me to be a part of their school, for it is their school, and making sure that I wasn't spending my days as a singular noun surviving on singular verbs. Talking with them in groups in my office, watching them on stages and sports fields and in the alley, they gleamed and shimmered and shone. It was indeed glorious. So I'd like to end this ode to my class of 2013, my class of 2013, with this encomium, a bit of Greek for you, Max, see? With a poem of my own by way of John O'Hara. I want to preface this by saying that Mia Jacobs has been exhorting me for years to stop drinking so much soda. And Mia, where are you? I'm trying, honestly. But at least that carbonated muse has led me to this piece, which I hope you won't want to burn as well. O'Hara's poem is called Having a Coke with You. I slightly amended the title as well as parts of the poem. I wish I was facing you more. All right. Having a Diet Coke with you is even more fun than going to Brentwood Country Mart, Malibu, the Venice Boardwalk, Ojai, partly because in your class of 13 sweatshirts you look better, happier Mona Lisas or all 8 of Warhol's Elvises. Partly because of my affection for you, partly because of your affection for red vines, partly because of the rainbow-colored hammock in Ray Charles Park, partly because of the joy our smiles take on in the alley and in hallways. It's hard to believe that I'm with you, that there can be anything as still and solemn and as unpleasantly definitive as speed bumps, when right in front of them in the warm Los Angeles noontime light, we are drifting back and forth among each other like Whitman's 28 Bathers. I talk with you and I'd rather hear your words than all the poets in the world, and what good did all the traveling do for Jack Kerouac when he never knew the right people to stand near the Mississippi River when the sun sank? Or for that matter, Gertrude herself, when she didn't look at the people as carefully as she did at that rose is a rose is a rose. It seems that they and Seamus and Mark and all the other poets were cheated of some marvelous experience, which has not gone wasted on me, and which is why I'm telling you about it now. Thank you, class of 2013, for teaching me what it really means to live as I want to do and as I have to do. I like the feeling, and I wish it for each and every one of you. Though watching you as I have over the past 4 years, you are already like those authentic, adventurous, brave words of Stein's. Thank you for this opportunity to express my love and admiration and indebtedness to you so personally and so publicly. You are shimmering beings. Believe me for meat and for myself. Thank you.
So we are using a pencil and a hair tie. And it might pop off or it might sound horrible, but we're very nervous, but we're just gonna